Long time no see, everybody. We are out here on today's work. 2007 Chevy Impala. We are going to be dropping the transmission in this bad boy today. I got my buddy going to pick up my engine brace, and he's going to be helping me out so I can get this done faster. The only thing we've done so far is support it by jack stands, put chocks behind the wheel, remove the air box here, and the two support diagonal brackets that go here to here on each side. This is a giant subframe, solid aluminum. You can see this whole thing drops as a unit. So the stuff that we're gonna have to be taking off is we're gonna have to take out the outer tie rods, sway bar links, the lower ball joint, and we're gonna drop the control arms and the K-member all as one unit. It's a big chunk, but it's going to be possible with two people. So I'm gonna get started on some things. I think I'm gonna start with taking off these outer tie rods, the lower ball joints, and the sway bar links, and go from there and see what else I want to do. I can take out the half shaft nut here if I want to, or I could leave it attached and pop it out from the transmission, but it'll probably be best if I take off the spindle nut. So sorry, I said spindle nut, half shaft nut. So that's where we're gonna go from there. Take off some parts, let you know some sizes, and see where we get. All right, everyone, we got parts off here, as you can see. Outer tie rod, these are actually really good still. They're holding up by themselves. Outer tie rod off, sway bar link off, half shaft nut out. That was not a 35, but a 35 works. 1.25 isn't big enough, so I believe it's 1 5/16 is probably the correct socket size. Took off the bottom ball joint nut with that guy right there to pick a fork. Popped that thing off and just hung it by the spindle. Sorry, hung it from the spindle, from the strut. So now we'll do the same thing on the other side, and then everything's free from the subframe, so we can drop it as a unit with the control arm still attached. So let me get at the other side and knock that down, and then I'm gonna start unbolting a bunch of stuff, and my buddy hopefully will be here so I can use the engine support brace to support this thing, so you know we can drop the transmission, stuff like that. Also, you can pull these half shafts out, have a drain pan ready, because stuff might come out. Not saying it will, not saying it won't, but it's better to be ready for fluids to drip than not. So I'll see y'all in a bit. Alright, so we're about to drop the entire lower subframe. We got the two body mounts up front and the two body mounts back out. There was two bolts holding in the transmission there, and then there's two bolts holding in the engine mount right here and right here, 16 millimeter. So we're gonna drop that and have this whole thing down, and then I think we'll be getting the transmission out in less than an hour. Alright, so we got the K-member dropped, as you can see, and we just dropped the steering rack. You got to go inside and take off the nut, which is a 15 mil. You don't have to hold the other side. It's got a locking clip. Told you 19. Unless you take this line off up top, guys, you're going to have to disconnect this one from the steering rack, which is going to be your 19 millimeter. We're currently draining the transmission fluid because we don't want any of that burnt stuff leaking out everywhere. Now we got to figure out what other stuff we got to take off. I'm holding it if you want to try again. We still got to take off the starter, which is at the front of the motor. 3/4, huh? There it is. Alright guys, so we'll get back to you when we get ready to drop this transmission next, I think. Let you know how many bolts we have dropped and all that good stuff. Alright, we made some more progress. Starter's out. You have to take off the bracket that sits right there. I think all three of those are 15 millimeter. Two starter bolts are 15, and there's a plastic cover that's 10 mil. I just took off this sensor on the transmission here. About to take off the bracket that connects the transmission to the engine. What else was I gonna mention? What else did we do? Oh, we took off the torque converter bolts. So I was rotating the engine here. There's 3 torque converter bolts. 18 mil?
18 mil.
3 18 millimeter bolts you gotta take off to separate the engine from the torque converter when we pull all the bell housing bolts out. So we're about finishing draining the transmission now. I'm gonna take this bracket off and we'll unbolt the transmission and drop it out. And the dipstick's gotta come out right there. Alright, so there's 4 more bolts we have to remove. We're already supporting the transmission. One I already removed right there. Second right here, let me use my light. Second right there, he's removing the 4th and final one right there. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Probably not. I'm not giving out the best angles. But either way, there's 2 on the top, 2 on the sides over here. There's that bracket that I removed over here already, which was like 5 or 6 bolts actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe 5 bolts holding that one on. There's this another cover you gotta remove, 2 10 mils at the bottom of the torque converter. Cover up the flex plate. It's coming out. Hell yeah. When we take that other one out, we should be able to wiggle this thing out. Hopefully. Yeah, we're just about done, guys. I'll give y'all an underside view. Because the one I had to remove down here was a stud. It connected right here at this top. You can't see where it bolts up, but right above where the starter goes, there's a stud, and that's where one of the engine grounds right here connects to. There's the stud. Drained the transmission, removed all the transmission lines. So we're good to go. You want to loosen the other one? I can try to pry and see if this thing moves at all. Alright guys, I'm going to have to use my hands now, so I can't record anymore, but I'll show you what it looks like when it's out. Would you look at that? She's out. She actually came out with no lube or anything. She just slid right out of her hole. Easiest transmission I've had to remove without prying or anything like that, so. Oh, there was one secret bolt that you had to get into the secret spot from this side with a bunch of extensions. That one right up top. That hole now on the engine, I'm pointing at the hole in the engine. Up top, that, yes. That one where he's pointing went into the hole that he was pointing to. That one right there. So you needed like 2 foot of extensions to get it. And then after that, this thing literally just like fell out. It didn't, but it did at the same time. Crusty over here. Alright, so we're gonna get this thing out the way. Tell our customer the transmission's out, clean up. And wait for him to get us the new transmission, guys, and then we can make a separate video for installation on this, which is going to be easier, harder, I don't know. It's going to be fun if he wants to continue paying us for the job. You never know, some customers be weird like that, but yeah, I think that's it.